And here we go. This is the type of battle that you can show someone who's new to our brand of entertainment and say, this is what WWE's all about. Full now face buster.
One of the greatest matches I ever had the honor of calling was at TakeOver Brooklyn between Sasha Banks and Bayley. A rare occasion where one match changed our industry. Setting up.
Guys, you both had the privilege of calling Sasha Banks against Bayley at the first TakeOver Brooklyn. What were the emotions like in the Barclays Center that night?
Oh, Michael, it was transcending. Two women putting on a match of the year was a moment that brought tears of joy to much of the WWE Universe. Heck, I literally saw grown men crying.
I had you in the mirror.
I had something in my eye, Saxton.
Yeah.
Don't judge me.
Sure you did. Becky Lynch may be in trouble here. We've certainly seen her withstand worse in the past, though.
I know she's incredibly confident in her submission skills, and rightfully so. But if she can't get back on the offensive here, it's going to be a long night for her.
When we talk about submission matches, we have to speak about one that, in many people's eyes, set the standard. It was WrestleMania 13. Bret the Hitman Hart was in a heated rivalry with a brash star on the rise named Stone Cold Steve Austin. This match started like no other submission match, with the two superstars battling in the crowd and attempting to use ring steps as a weapon.
Byron, you mentioned the submission match between Bret Hart and Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. The rivalry between the Hitman and Stone Cold was so intense that WWE had no choice but to appoint mixed martial arts champion Ken Shamrock as the special guest referee. The Hitman didn't waste any time focusing his assault on Austin's injured knee.
Steve Austin was busted open, and in the ringside area, it looked like a tornado went through. Once locked in the sharpshooter, Austin refused to give up. Stone Cold passed out due to the excruciating pain, which was considered a submission, giving the Hitman the victory. If it's not the greatest match of all time, it's certainly in the discussion.
One of the things a superstar who's competing in a submission match has to be careful of is if they have an injury or have been injured in the past and people know about it. You can bet in a submission match that your opponent is going to target that body part immediately. It's like having a giant bullseye on an arm, leg, ankle, or shoulder.
Byron, you brought up that a submission match can be especially dangerous for a competitor who's injured or had a known injury. I think that's why it... What's this, Corey?
I think they're looking for the Romero special.
Oh, no, it's over.
There it is.
And she escapes the submission.
Not a lot of people can break out of that one, Michael.
Ah, kick! Nasty kick. Wow!
Nice arm drag.
The WWE Universe witnessed a classic submission match at 2016's Extreme Rules event.
Sasha Banks is in control! Things have gotten worse for Becky Lynch. She could be out of this match. We might be looking at the end of the line for her.
She might just want to submit here now.
Whoa, impressive.
You could say that again. I never thought she'd break free from that one.
Corey, you spoke of the submission match between Charlotte Flair and Natalya. Uh-oh, Becky Lynch may have it. Got a little something brewing here. Oh, nice belly to back.
That could be a game changer.
She's got her. Frankensteiner!
Nicely done.
She's in full control now. Sasha Banks being overwhelmed here.
Becky Lynch is credited as one of the superstars who ushered in the women's revolution. No match in WWE history showed where that movement was going, like the women's triple threat match at WrestleMania 32. Becky Lynch clashed with the Boss, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte for the women's championship.
And there's the reversal from Sasha Banks.
The Boss is giving some serious orders right now.
The women's triple threat match at WrestleMania in Dallas, Texas was one of the most anticipated matches on the card. Becky Lynch went on a tear in the months leading up to WrestleMania and would not be ignored as a top contender for the women's title.
If you want to know just how anticipated the women's triple threat match was at WrestleMania 32, just look at the photo of the three women that went across AT&T Stadium. Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte changed the game that night.
Oh, what a chop block.
She's in control.
Beautiful technique.
This is not going to end well for Sasha Banks.
The Boss trying to pull it out.
Boss time's over.
This is going to be bad for Sasha Banks.
She's in full control now.
Setting up.
Takes her off her feet.
That's how you eliminate somebody's vertical game.
I think Sasha Banks is done playing.
Look at this. I love it when Sasha starts playing with people. What a tease. I spoke to Sasha Banks after she participated in Abu Dhabi's first ever women's match, and
Sasha Banks is looking to end it. She better do something fast. No! She breaks it.
wow, she's quite the escape artist, Michael.
Reflecting on your conversation with Sasha Banks, Byron, Sasha feels she has a responsibility to empower women all over the globe to find the boss in themselves.
Yeah, you know what? I'll hand it to Sasha Banks. She finally humbled herself enough to allow one night not to be all about her.
Inverted DDT!
Spiked.
Kick!
In a submission match, the name of the game is to make your opponent tap out from a submission move. There have been so many submission specialists throughout the history of this great business. Bret Hitman Hart, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar.
Oh, the backstabber. It's Sasha with the bank statement. The bank statement. And Sasha Banks pops the shoulder up.
Not yet.
Corey, earlier you spoke about a submission match, and one thing I'd like to point out is that a submission match is not necessarily the same as an I Quit match. The key difference is that a submission match requires the use of a submission maneuver. In an I Quit match, victory can be achieved by bringing your opponent to the point where they quit as a result of the overall punishment they've received in the match.
That's an important distinction, Michael, especially since a superstar can win an I Quit match by using a submission maneuver. For superstars who aren't proficient in submission moves, they enter this type of match at a disadvantage. It doesn't mean they can't win, but they need to perfect applying a submission move quickly. Come on, Corey, try and keep up.
In a submission match, the name of the game is to make your opponent tap out from a submission move. There have been so many submission specialists throughout the history of this great business. Bret Hitman Hart, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, William Regal, and Daniel Bryan are a few who come to mind. And on the women's side, I think about Alundra Blaze, Natalya, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and the boss, Sasha Banks.
Corey, earlier you spoke about a submission match, and one thing I'd like to point out is that a submission match is not necessarily the same as an I Quit match. The key difference is that a submission match requires the use of a submission maneuver. In an I Quit match, victory can be achieved by bringing your opponent to the point where they quit as a result of the overall punishment they've received in the match.
That's an important distinction, Michael, especially since a superstar can win an I Quit match by using a submission maneuver. For superstars who aren't proficient in submission moves, they enter this type of match at a disadvantage. It doesn't mean they can't win, but they need to perfect applying a submission move quickly. Come on, Corey, try and keep up. One of the things a superstar who's competing in a submission match